You've probably seen a quokka. If you existed on the internet in the mid-2010s, you most likely encountered the quokka selfie craze that took over social media for some time. These fluffy little bastards always seem to be smiling and are even known as the happiest animal on Earth. But what are they smiling for? Are they even smiling? The answer might surprise you. With the hundreds of happy selfies taken with people like Chris Hemsworth and Barbie herself, Margot Robbie, you might think you know all there is to know about the tiny charmers. However, that couldn't be further from the truth. And as with most things in nature, there are aspects of quokkas that will definitely make you reconsider your adoration for them. Just wait till you hear about what they do to their babies. Hi, I'm Jay, and welcome to Bad Science, the only show on YouTube that dares to trek into the seedy underbelly of nature to show you how things really work, no matter how scary, gross, or reprehensible it might be. And as always, I'll be delivering that information to you in the only way I know how. Badly. Speaking of scary, gross, and reprehensible, this episode is about the quokka, the little fluff balls that have everybody fooled by their permanent smiles. Get ready to view all of those adorable pictures in a different light as we dig into what these creatures are really all about. Death and destruction! Okay, not really, but they definitely have some skeletons in their closets. Let's get started. First of all, let's get one thing straight. Quokkas are not rats. Don't let anyone convince you that they are. Even the Dutch explorer who first discovered the creatures back in the 1600s mistook them for giant rats. He named the island he found on them Rattennest, which is Dutch for rat's nest. That name has been adapted to Rotnest now out of respect for the creatures, and they can still be found there today along with other islands in Western Australia. So they aren't rats. The quokka is actually a member of the Macropodidae family, a collection of animals with pouches that reside in or around Australia. This means that quokkas are near cousins of the kangaroos and wallabies. The familial relation is much more apparent when you see a quokka in motion, like in this video. Quokkas were given their name by the Noongar Aboriginal tribe that shares the same lands. Like other members of Macropodidae, quokkas also say "good day" and are classified as marsupials. They have strong hind legs and a pouch that they often use to carry their young, and maybe even an iPhone. More on the baby situation later. These mini kangaroos tend to be roughly the size of a house cat. They can grow up to 21 inches long, weigh up to 11 pounds, and have a tail that can be as long as 12 inches. Other recognizable visual traits of a quokka are its rounded ears, grizzled brown fur, and its famous serial killer smile. Let's set another thing straight. Quokkas are not smiling. The structure of their facial bones and musculature just makes it look like they do. So when you see thousands of pictures of tourists taking selfies with these smiling creatures, they're more likely plotting their downfall rather than saying cheese. They seem friendly and approachable, but they're really just getting close to you to learn your weaknesses. Although, they also have a history of biting humans, if you catch them off guard. Quokkas have been known to swim through shallow ponds and lakes, but not very often. Their home islands rarely get much rainfall. They are very capable climbers, however, and have been observed scampering up trees and into shrubs for protection. In fact, when the chipper chipmunk decides to go to sleep, they climb into a plant known as the Icanthrocarpus pricey, which has sharp spikes that ward off predators. Pretty smart for a dopey fluff muffin, huh? Oh, and quokkas are nocturnal, meaning they sleep during the day. That means they come out at night. And do you know what else comes out at night? The freaks! Now, what do these fluffy buggers eat? Like other macropods, quokkas are herbivorous, so they feast on vegetation like grass and leaves. A study conducted by scientists for wildlife research revealed that the quokka's favorite food is a plant called Gwychenosia letifolia, which is in the mallows family. No, not marshmallows, but plants like cacao and durian. Although a quokka with marshmallows on its cheeks might be even cuter. Note, do not ever give marshmallows to a quokka. Science isn't sure what will happen, but it can't be good. Hey, wait! Now's the time. Subscribe to the channel to be entertained while learning. It's free! Despite living in areas where freshwater is scarce, quokkas require quite a bit of it. Thankfully, their plant diet gives them most of the hydration they need. How, you might ask? Well, quokkas also participate in a practice they share with cows, which is chewing their cud. If you don't know what cud is, I'm sorry for ruining your day with what I'm about to say. Cud is a small amount of semi-digested food that returns from an animal's stomach back to its mouth, where they continue to chew it. It's basically semi-solid vomit that they chew like bubblegum to extract extra liquids and nutrients. I know, I said I was sorry. Nature's gross sometimes. but that's just how we like it on Bad Science. While it's important that quokkas tend to their food and water needs, they're actually pretty stable and resilient. They can go for weeks without eating food by surviving off of the fat storage they keep in their tails. And as previously mentioned, they horrifyingly extract water from the plants they eat, so they can go without drinking fresh water for months. I don't know how they do it. I can barely go an hour without some water. I'm so thirsty all the time. Maybe I should stop eating all of those potato chips. Speaking of delicious, salty snacks, you should never share them with a quokka. The tourists that travel to Rottnest Island to take quokka selfies have been caught handing out human food and snacks to the native quokkas, which has caused a whole mess of trouble. If a full-grown human gets thirsty from a few potato chips, just imagine how thirsty these tiny fellas get. Our furry friends tend to have lifespans of around 10 years, but they all live by Drake's motto, YOLO. And since they only live once, quokkas get down. Like, all the way down. These freaks practice what is called a promiscuous mating system, in which both male and female quokkas have multiple sexual partners. The quokka mating season typically rolls around in the cooler months of January and February, and the actual mating rituals usually happen in the nighttime. You know, the sexy time. Bigger, heavier male quokka are sought out by females as their size determines their dominance and likelihood of successful reproduction. After the quokkas go to Pound Town, female quokkas experience a gestation period of just 1 month and then give birth to a baby quokka, called a joey, just like baby kangaroos. The little joey then sets up shop in the mother's quokka pouch for 6 months, as can be seen in this image. There, it lives and subsists on its mother's milk until it's ready to come out and face the world on its own. If it makes it that long, that is. Female quokkas are able to give birth twice every year and birth an average of 17 joeys in their 10-year lifespan. That second joey of the year tends to have a better shot at life than the first one due to an unfortunate survival instinct female quokkas have after they give birth. If a female quokka is being pursued by a predator while she has a joey in her pouch, she relaxes the muscles around her pouch, causing the joey to fall out. That's right, the cries of the baby quokka attract the predator to it instead of the adult quokka, which results in them being eaten as a sacrifice. That's definitely a sad, shocking feature of a quokka's life, but let's think about this for a second. If you're being chased by something that wants to eat you and you're running away from it with your slower friend, do you run faster than them so they get eaten and you can escape? If you said yes, you're a monster, or a quokka. If you said no, you're a liar. So what have we learned today? Quokkas aren't actually smiling, they sacrifice their babies, and the guy who discovered them thought they were big rats. Overall, a very successful episode of Bad Science. Joking aside, it's important to keep in mind that while quokkas are incredibly cute and cuddly, they are still wild animals, and ones with declining population numbers at that. Despite the fact that they bang and produce offspring regularly, invasive species, logging, housing developments, and even agricultural projects are all causing them to lose the spaces they call home. So, while you might want to participate in the quokka selfie craze, take a second to consider the creature itself. Make sure you're being respectful, following the rules laid down by the park rangers, and never, ever give them potato chips or marshmallows. Thank you for watching this episode of Bad Science. I'm Jay, and I'll see you in the next episode.